Buster Olney to join us. Buster, you're here. We know that. Where's Zach Britton? Have we found him yet?
Oh, my goodness. You're like the fifth person to run that joke past me today, okay? There's a very well-known announcer. I just was down in the gym running, and I walked in there, and he goes, "Hey, Buster, good to see you. Where's Zach Britton?"
Well, Buster Gaza here is a diehard Orioles fan, and normally during Orioles games, I don't hear from him. He goes radio silent. Last night, every inning on the inning, starting in the eighth, I got no Zach Britton. Where's Zach Britton?
Is my TV working? Is yours doing the same thing mine is right now?
Yeah, well, and I give you a credit, Gauze, for coming into work today, okay? After suffering a loss like that, a defeat like that, I'm guessing you probably got no sleep. You're staring at your dark walls late at night wondering, is that the image of Zach Britton? Was I dreaming? Was the manager who handles the bullpen better than any other in baseball? Did he couldn't possibly have forgotten about the reliever who merely had the best season in the history of baseball. Look, I've gone over it in my mind a million times. I was doing that as it happened. I was doing it this morning, and I can't come up with anything other than he just simply made a mistake by waiting for what's to come. And, I covered Joe Torre in 4 years as manager of the Yankees, and some of the bullpen management that he did was atrocious. He ran guys into the ground. He used guys too much. But in the postseason, I thought Joe managed better than anybody because what he did was seize the moment, realize that you have to win this moment right now because you might not get another chance in October. And I began to think of that last night in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. That was a situation where for the Orioles, what you needed to do was win that inning. And I know, Buck was, as he explained to reporters after the game, he was holding Zach back because he was hoping to get a lead at some point, protect the lead. You know what? You can't wait. You cannot wait. If you're the Orioles and you get through 9 innings, you have to make sure you get through the 10th, and then you have to make sure you get through the 11th, and that's why Buck is for years to come is going to have to be asked about this question and or about this decision, and it's probably not going to be a comfortable answer for him.
Buster, as we get ready for Texas-Toronto, I watched that game last night. I see the bottle come out of the stands.
I know.
I'm starting to think, is Toronto, are they now the worst fans in sports?
No, I would never say that. I think the intensity of those fans is great. And you had one idiot, as far as we know. I don't think there was anything else thrown on, anything like that during the course of the game. You had one idiot, and I don't want to paint a broad brush. When you hear that crowd up in Toronto, it reminds me of when I was growing up as a kid in Vermont. You'd hear the crowd at the Boston Garden. It was a crowd that's intense and anticipating and reacting to everything going on, and that's really cool for the most part. But I must tell you that, it occurred to me as I was watching that, boy, if the Blue Jays win this game, their series against Texas, which already has so much emotion wrapped up, and now, Rougned Odor and the punch and Batista and the whole history of the bat flip and the whole thing, I'm a little nervous about what might happen with the fans in that series.
Let's move on from all this Blue Jays and Orioles talk. I think for my sake, I just feel better
like me, Buster.
if we just move on from it all now. We can just preview the Mets and Giants tonight. Buster, what can we expect from this matchup?
Well, I was thinking about this. You don't see these classic duels of these two big gunslinger aces now the way that you used to. The type of matchup's almost becoming an endangered species because now it's, if you get through 5 or 6 innings and you get a quality start, pat on the back, way to go. It feels like much more of a participation trophy. Noah Syndergaard and Madison Bumgarner are, they are the exception now to the rule. And we might have a situation with these two pitchers where they're both out there in the 9th inning, throwing punches, throwing pitches, dominating hitters, and that's really cool to look forward to. 2 things to watch tonight. First off, we know that Bumgarner, pitching for Bruce Bochy, it's possible he could go 125, 130 pitches. He's done that sort of thing before. Noah Syndergaard, on the other hand, is typically 100 to 110 pitches, and he'll be facing a team that draws a lot of walks and makes a lot of contact, fouls pitches off. The pitch count maintenance for Syndergaard is going to be a huge issue in this game. And the second thing, I'm sure you guys have talked about this, Syndergaard's inability to hold a running game. 48 stolen bases allowed by Syndergaard this year, the most since Hideo Nomo in 2001. And when I talked to Noah yesterday, he mentioned that he feels like he's gotten better at speeding up his delivery. They got Rene Rivera behind the plate who gives him some comfort because he's got a strong arm. But Buster Posey told me, look, we're going to be looking for every opportunity, to create something against a pitcher like Syndergaard. You can bet if they get guys on base, they're going to be looking to try to steal.
ESPN's Buster Olney right here on 104.5, the Team ESPN radio. Buster, do you think Noah Syndergaard and the Mets can get past Bumgarner and the Giants tonight?
I picked them to win this game, but last year I picked the Pirates to win the World Series. So you got to keep that in mind. I think that they're going to. I think that they've got more guys swinging well in their lineup, and they've got good veteran players who've been through this before. Curtis Granderson, Asdrubal Cabrera, Jose Reyes, on and on. I think that they are in a better place to handle a situation like this than they were a year ago. And I can tell you that on the Giants side, when they made the postseason, there wasn't like this big eruption of joy. They were relieved because they played so poorly for most of the second half, and there's still, I think, a fingers-crossed situation going on late in games with their bullpen because they really don't have a lot of pitchers, don't have any pitchers with great stuff down there. And I think that every reliever they would bring out behind Bumgarner would be a roll of the dice.
It just feels like going into tonight's match, especially after what Buck Showalter did, I have to bring it up again, but the pressure is going to be on the managers tonight. Everyone's going to watch their moves even more closely. If the Mets get beaten 9-0 tonight, or Terry Collins makes a terrible pitching decision, could that cost him his job?
I don't think so. I think if you had a more reactionary owner, general manager situation, I think you might have that. But Sandy Alderson is circumspect. He's a fair-minded person. I do think that there was a real chance, and we talked about this in August, that Terry was going to be fired. But once they made the playoffs, I think that was it. I think he clinched another year as manager of the Mets.
We got Buster for a couple more minutes before he has to head to the stadium. So, Buster, if the Mets are able to get this win tonight, how do they match up against the Cubbies in your mind?
Badly. That's what it comes down to. Man for man, unit compared to unit, it's not really close. The Cubs have a tremendous offense. They have a really deep starting rotation. Their bullpen has been augmented by the addition of Aroldis Chapman. And, oh, by the way, they're historically great on defense, which I think ultimately is the best part of this team, how well they catch the ball. We seem to treat, I remember last year, because I covered the whole Mets-Cubs series like it was David versus Goliath. Well, this is like David's fourth little brother against Goliath. The Mets were to play the Cubs, especially with all the injuries that the Mets have had in their rotation. And, can that matchup be won? Sure. I was a fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers when that 88 team beat the Mets after losing 10 of 11 to that team during the regular season. And then the Oakland Athletics with the Bash brothers, they managed to win that World Series. But the Cubs would be heavy favorites.
Well, let's go on this, your World Series prediction.
Back in January, tweeted out because I wanted to be the first one on the bandwagon, or at least the 100th person in the bandwagon. I picked the Cubs to win the World Series. I still picked that. I picked them to play the Red Sox in the postseason. I'm much less confident about the pick of the Red Sox to get to the postseason after watching Craig Kimbrell down the stretch. He looks like there might be some issues related to the knee problems that he's had that have affected his command. And you might have situations in this postseason when the Red Sox will be looking for big outs from Kimbrell in the 8th and 9th inning, and he might not be able to deliver.
Buster Olney with us. And Buster, congratulations on the fact that your Vikings are still going to be in the hunt by the time you're able to watch them play.
This is the year, baby. This is 56 years, I think, for the franchise. This is the year it's going to happen.
I hope you're right because I love Happy Buster. Buster, safe travels, and we look forward to watching you. You're gonna be with the Mets and the Giants tonight, correct?
On ESPN, 8:00. What a matchup.
All right, Buster, hit the road. Be safe. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Buster.